Have you ever wondered why Jesus remained silent before those who falsely accused him? Why did he choose peace instead of endless arguments? Sometimes the greatest miracle is not found in speaking, but in knowing when to remain silent. Today's story will reveal 10 powerful moments when silence becomes the strongest expression of faith, wisdom, and trust in God. Welcome to Next Level Stories, where every story is inspired by timeless biblical values, bringing faith, hope, wisdom, and life-changing lessons into your heart. If you are searching for peace, purpose, and spiritual growth, you're in the right place. Now, open your heart, take a deep breath, and let this journey begin. Long ago, in a peaceful village surrounded by green hills, there lived a young man named Ethan. Although he believed in God, he struggled with one weakness that stole his peace every single day. He reacted to everything. Whenever someone criticized him, he defended himself immediately. Whenever people argued with him, he argued even louder. Whenever someone insulted him, anger quickly filled his heart. Over time, people began avoiding him, not because he was evil, but because he never allowed peace to speak louder than his emotions. One day, Ethan heard about an elderly teacher who traveled from village to village, sharing wisdom inspired by the teachings of Jesus Christ. Hoping to change his life, Ethan attended one of the gatherings. The teacher opened the scriptures and gently said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God." True strength is not always found in powerful words. Sometimes God works most deeply through a quiet and humble heart. Those words struck Ethan deeply. After everyone left, he approached the teacher and asked, "Sir, how can silence possibly change a person's life?" The old man smiled kindly and answered, "Walk with me, and I will show you 10 moments when silence becomes God's greatest gift." Their journey began beneath an ancient olive tree. The teacher said, "The first lesson is this: when people criticize you unfairly, do not rush to defend yourself. Pray first. Listen first. Your Heavenly Father already knows the truth, even when others do not." Ethan remembered how many nights he had lost because he desperately wanted everyone to understand him. The teacher continued, "Jesus did not answer every accusation. He trusted the Father completely. When your identity is secure in God, you no longer need to win every argument." As they continued walking toward the village marketplace, Ethan silently realized that perhaps changing his life would not begin by learning better words. It would begin by learning when not to speak at all. His heart had already started changing, and this was only the first lesson of a journey that would transform his faith forever. The next morning, the teacher led Ethan into the heart of a crowded marketplace where merchants shouted over prices and neighbors argued over the smallest misunderstandings. Smiling gently, the teacher said, "Today you will learn the second lesson. When someone argues with you, do not be quick to answer. Pride always wants the last word, but God's wisdom often speaks through a peaceful spirit." Almost immediately, a wealthy merchant approached Ethan and accused him of blocking customers from entering his shop. The accusation was completely false, and Ethan felt the familiar fire of anger rising inside him. His old nature wanted to defend itself, to prove the merchant wrong in front of everyone. But then he remembered the teacher's words and silently whispered a prayer in his heart. Instead of arguing, he simply stepped aside with kindness. The merchant continued shouting for several moments, but when Ethan refused to fight back, the crowd slowly realized who was creating the conflict. Embarrassed by his own behavior, the merchant lowered his voice and quietly apologized. As they continued walking, the teacher smiled and said, "You see, my son, peace often reveals the truth more clearly than arguments ever can." A little farther down the road, they met a grieving widow sitting alone beside a small stream. Tears filled her eyes as she mourned the loss of her only child. Ethan wanted to comfort her with many encouraging words, but the teacher gently placed a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "Not every broken heart needs a speech. Sometimes your loving presence is the greatest gift you can offer." Ethan sat quietly beside the woman without speaking. After several minutes, she slowly began sharing her pain, her fears, and the loneliness that had overwhelmed her. She thanked Ethan, not because he had spoken wisely, but because he had listened with compassion. The teacher then looked toward the evening sky and said, "Jesus often showed love before he spoke. People whose hearts are hurting first need compassion, not correction." As the sun disappeared beyond the hills, Ethan understood another powerful truth. Silence was not weakness. It was faith choosing peace over pride, patience over impulse, and love over the desire to always be right. With every lesson, his heart was becoming quieter, stronger, and more willing to trust God than his own emotions. The journey had only reached its second step, yet Ethan could already feel that God was transforming him from the inside out.